Hello, this is Daphne. Welcome to Of Darkness and Light. I want to tell you about a few things I was doing on the internet that were pretty wild regarding creating Sinbads. And so Sinbad is a situation where people, I'm just going to call it a Sinbad because that's the best example. But it's when people get all wooey about, ooh, that's kind of racist. About, yeah, I'm gonna have to, I fix stuff when I find it. That's not something I'll say anymore. But I'll still say Sinbad because that is a situation where people have literally created an alternate universe in their minds to deny the fact that they're a racist and that they misremembered Shaq as Sinbad and that they just made up a different name from a cartoon show or whatever. And it's just like, this is the dumbest false universe ever. There was a Wikipedia article I looked at when I was working through levels of my own cognitive dissonance. I just thought it would be funny to ask a backwards question about Little Bighorn, and then I just Googled Little Bighorn, and I started reading the Wikipedia page, and I was like, wow, it takes a long time to get to the answer on this Wikipedia page. So I was feeling like I needed to even out my executive dysfunction, and I spammed some places on the internet with a link to the battle at Little Bighorn, and I set it as triggering as possible, attempting to get logically minded idiots to get really pissed off about how I was spelling the name wrong, or people who are easily offended to be pissed off that I was like, didn't we win? So I say the things trying to create levels of cognitive dissonance about what people are feeling in their emotions, right? And then if in my mind, if that was spammed into the internet enough, there could be a completely false Sinbad just for that subset of people created in the world because of illiteracy. And because they just give up in a panic and freak out. Because there is another one that's gonna hit certain people really hard. If they are lying cheaters like me, who played NFL Blitz 64. I don't know exactly how this one works. I was being cruel when I did it. So this is what happens. I'm gonna just explain it. This is the Blitz 64 undercut secret. I spam people on the internet, and I was spamming Brennan Lee Mulligan about video game stuff because I do that. And it's like it's probably the worst inbox find down the road ever. It's gonna be great. But it has. I asked the question. I misremembered the name as Undercut. The play was called Uppercut, right? And I was just talking about this cheaty scheme I used. So I'll explain it to you. There was this kid who came over to my house, and he was a Knobloch. That was his last name. And he was one of my trampoline friends. Everybody has those, just admit it. Had them. You know, you didn't like them, but they had a trampoline, dude. Or you were that person, and then you hate me because you hated how everybody's just using you for a trampoline. The trampoline kids knew it was coming too, and they were just like, we're not playing on the trampoline, dude. It's just like such a mind fuck. But anyways, I didn't really like that kid. and he came over and we were playing Blitz 64. And when you choose plays on that screen, it's pretty obvious what you're choosing. And there's one play that breaks the fucking game if you can choose it when the people don't see it's coming, and you use it in a feathered way where you don't use it too often. But my whole thing was I would play with the New England Patriots, which were like a low-rated team in that game, because they had a good quarterback and a good guy who could run down the field fast. And I could just break the game by doing this thing where as soon as the play call screen popped up, which a part of the cognitive dissonance is on X, I was telling people that I broke it with a pagan witch portal. I broke the universe with the pagan witch portal, and I woke up today to play Blitz 64, and I'm just like creating levels of confusion in my mind. That's what I'm thinking, is like pissing people off, making it funny, making it confusing. And then you look it up and you're already twisted up. And it's like the hardest thing to Google in the world because the play call screens are so fast and nobody took a picture of both screens. So it's like you can only find the first one. And I ask if it's undercut and it's uppercut. And so it just gets me, when I looked this up after I sent that to Brennan Lee Mulligan, I looked at the Google search results, which is where I figured most people would go, and I had the most brain warping moment in the world because I spent a significant portion of time being like, that's the play, it's uppercut, right? Like I need to find the second screen and make sure it's not a different play with a different name on a different screen. But I thought it was on the second screen, and I finally look at the second screen and like pause the video and I'm like, it's not there. It was uppercut, right? So I go back and then I look at the way the play looks. It looks kind of weird. It always looked weird, but it's just like it confuses you just the way it looks, and I'm trying to confuse people going in. And the thing is, I don't believe it would mess anybody's mind up except for somebody like me, who instinctually at the beginning of the play selection portion of playing Blitz 64 clicked right over to the second screen and did a bunch of moving around and like clicked back and forth. It was just playing this whole game to like fuck people's brains so they could never know what I was picking, and then I could sneak back to page 1 and choose uppercut and then just like do some bad stuff to him with it, just break the game. But that's the thing, is like if there's a unique group of people like the kid who was playing with me who would try and do the same thing like an idiot in front of me, and I played him for, it was a whole afternoon and evening. I've never seen a more broken mind than that kid going home after playing with like every team in the game twice, trying to beat me at a game of Blitz 64. I mean, just wasting him every single time. And he was just like, I'm not going to go home. He's like, I'm going to do it. It's just like the results were not changing. He had a couple like close calls, but I just like, yeah, it wasn't close. I don't know what I'm saying. It's like he kept up till halftime a couple times, but it's just like, some people will get a mind warp on that. I got pulled into it because what happened was I got confused about the way that the play looked, and then I was the worst Google search results ever, and you're like watching the play and it goes so fast and your brain's confused, and then if it gets you just right, you're like, wait a second, it was on page 2. I always had to switch to click it. And when you believe that at the middle of all that confusion, my brain almost broke, and I just had to remember how much of a liar I was about like how method I was being about choosing that play. But it's like there were other people doing it who can never admit they're liars. And so there's a very specific Sinbad out there to create for the world for people who played Blitz 64 and cheated like an asshole, but weren't honest to themselves about what they were doing and were bad at it. And I think good liars are cool if they're doing it for a good reason, because they're fucking up idiots who are bad liars. people who are lying to themselves about lying, dude. It's like, if you tell a lie, you should be very, very aware of it. It should be something that you're only telling because you feel it justified, because you're telling it to someone that needs to be told a lie. It's like, if I have to tell you a lie, that's yours to hold. And that's what's up, dude. Also, if anybody's watching and is pissed off that I got a PlayStation, because I was thinking about that too. I mentioned how I got a PlayStation. I got a PlayStation 3, dude. I got a PlayStation 3. Chill out if anybody's out there being pissed off about a PlayStation. All right. Have a good one.